Hey, Facebook Landia, this is Jonathan. Excited to talk to you this morning about something I call the Vortex of Terror. It doesn't sound exciting unless it's a roller coaster, but anyway, when I meet with couples, we almost always go over this Vortex of Terror and try to turn it into something that's not quite so terrible. Not really original ideas. A lot of them have come from the Crazy Cycle and John Regier, a counselor that Elizabeth and I met with. But I just want to walk you through this real quick and to give you something. If you have followed me before, you know that I really like shapes. I really like stuff that takes these big concepts and puts them down into something like a circle or a triangle. So here we go. Vortex of Terror, talking about conflicts that couples have. Conflict by itself is not bad, but this conflict, this vortex of terror can be really bad. And if you've been on it, you know what it feels like. So just real briefly, here goes. Husband, you can start with the husband or start with the wife, but we'll start with the husband over here. He, just like all of us, has got certain pain, certain triggers, core, kind of really deep pain. And when that gets stepped on, if his wife does something that triggers that deeper pain, he's going to respond in a certain way. It may be good, it may be bad, but in the Vortex of Terror, usually he's responding in a way that's not so healthy. Could be outbursts of anger, could be withdrawal and stonewalling or silent treatment or something like that. So he gets hurt, he responds this way. His response then triggers the wife's sort of core pain or her core insecurities or her core wonderings if she is enough or whatever. And then that steps on her sort of core pain, which then causes her to react in a certain way to him. And again, that could be with anger, that could be withdrawal, it could be with nagging or pestering or comparing him to others or criticizing, that type of thing. Well, what does that do? Well, that just comes back and then steps on his core pain of insecurity or am I man enough or whatever it is. Can be very different from couple to couple, but the general idea is this. So this Vortex of Terror is operational in most couples at one point or another. The good news is you can change it. And one of the things that is so helpful when I interact with couples is trying to find out where these core pains come from. Because often they don't come from the spouse. The spouse is stepping on the pain, the spouse is triggering the other person's pain, but often the really deep stuff that hurts the most is coming from the past. So it's coming from mom or dad or other people, other things that have happened in life. It's not always the parents, but often it is historical. So when I recognize, or when, say for example, when a husband recognizes that this core pain that his wife has going on over here comes from the past, when he understands that and then tries to love her specifically in those areas of pain and speak love to those areas of pain, he can transform this cycle of Vortex of Terror into something that's actually very, very good and can help her feel loved and cherished. So again, if you've seen the shapes diagram that I published a year or so ago, I'll put a link in the comments, but the triangle of the shapes diagram is what's here. That's the core lies that a person believes or the core pain. So what's so cool about this is that it can be interrupted at any stage, and it can even be interrupted unilaterally. So even if only one of the spouses cares about changing this. So take the husband, for example. If he recognizes that he's feeling really marginalized or really accused or like his wife's being really overbearing, he can stop this Vortex of Terror right here by deciding that instead of responding with anger, instead of responding out of pain, instead of withdrawing and distancing himself or maybe stonewalling his wife and just giving her the silent treatment, he can choose to say, okay, this hurts really bad. Why does this hurt? And I need to find healing from that. This is not all my wife's fault. I need to find healing from God. And then I need to choose to respond with love. And then, of course, the same thing happened on the wife's side of things. She can choose when she feels these things to say, okay, maybe my husband is not acting right now, but maybe it's coming from some of his pain, and maybe this is coming from my pain. And I need to figure out what that is, and I need to receive healing from God in that area so that I can then respond in a healthy way, a loving way. And again, what can make this so magical is when a husband or a wife sees what the core pain is of their partner, and instead of stepping on that pain, cares about that pain and says, hey, I know that really hurts you. I'm sorry. Can I take care of the heart of? Can I take care of your heart? Even can I take care of the heart of that little girl who is always wondering if she's enough, or who can never please anybody? I never want to make you feel that way, and I'm sorry that I have in the past. And when we see where we're at on the cycle, or when a couple sees what's going on and kind of fills this out, it can often provide a map for the disagreements. And you can see how this can spiral out of control really, really fast. One person's hurting the other person and responding in kind, and round and round and round and go. And nobody's actually pausing long enough to love their spouse, who is in reality just hurting. So, yeah, I guess that's it. That's the Vortex of Terror. And my prayer for you, is every couple that I meet with, is that we can learn to turn this Vortex of Terror into, the cycle of awesomeness or something. To have marriages that represent Christ in the church, and where we are feeling loved and we are loving. So that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. This is my first time trying to record this, so if it doesn't make any sense, let me know, and I'll try to figure something out and do it again. So again, I'll post the link to the shapes diagram in the comments. Again, the triangle of the shapes diagram would be here and here. The core lies, core pain. All right. Well, happy Tuesday to you. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are in the world. Take care. Bye.